Chesh. Am I saying it right? Did I just say horse? Or I was supposed to say hello, but I'm not sure how I did. My name is Jasper. I'm from Amsterdam. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the organization for setting up such an amazing conference. It's one of the most professional ones I've been to. And thank you all for putting yourself in harm's way to see me trying to control some drones today. So a little bit about me. I'm from Amsterdam, as I said. By day, I'm consulting at TripAdvisor. This is a website with some information about me, my handle. But this is, of course, the most important part. By night, I'm a drone enthusiast. So this was me in Spain last summer, where I did some hiking. And just, of course, I had to bring my drone, so you get these amazing shots, which were even more amazing than the hike itself. First, I have to say this, that the opinions here are expressed solely my own and not express the views of my opinion, or opinions of my employer. So we got that out of the way. So now let's talk about the goal of this talk. I'm going to show you how to control multiple drones using JavaScript. We do this in 3 steps. So first, we're going to make sure that we choose the right drone. Then we're going to control a single drone. And then we're going to control multiple drones at once. If you have any questions, come see me after the talk. I'll be around, of course. You are here at your own risk, I have to say this. I think this was the Winter Olympics quite a while ago, and yes, that's a drone that just missed that guy by a meter. But rest assured, the drones that I'm using, they're not very powerful, and therefore they're not very dangerous, because they don't need a lot of power to stay in the air. But if they do approach you, there's a cage around them. I'll show one. There's a cage around it, so kind of do it like when you're feeding a horse. My mother always told me to use a flat hand. Just don't point fingers, because, yeah, then the cage doesn't work. So out of science, in the name of science, I did this little experiment. Somebody told me that hot dogs, they resemble fingers. So you see, you put the finger in, and it stops. So you're completely safe. By the way, I really like that we have the VIP row in front, which is kind of a human shield for the rest of the audience. I like the setup. Okay, so let's talk about choosing the right drone. First, a little bit about the evolution of drones. So this was 10 years ago. This was me building my first drone. Back then, you had to solder them yourself. This was a very new technology, but also very amazing. The first time I saw it fly, I was just mind blown. But yeah, you had to build it yourself. It took me a few weeks, and it was a very difficult process. So this is kind of my maiden flight. I crashed immediately. But then kind of the next step were the RTF drones. So those are the ready to fly, which means you can go to a shop, buy for, say, 2,000 euros. I think this one is 2,000 euros. And you can start flying the same afternoon. But that's 2,000 euros. That's not going to work for what I wanted to do. I wanted to do some experimentation. That's why the third step is very important. Cheap, small drones, which are relatively quite capable. Because I don't know about you guys, but if I start experimenting, I don't have 2,000 euros to experiment with. So you're going to crash a lot. This is very difficult. And yeah, so you know, when the price dropped and you still had some decent drones, that really opened some opportunities for me. So what are the requirements? So we kind of talked about this. It should be cheap. You know, you're experimenting. It should be accessible for people even with lower budgets. They can fly indoors. I'm from the Netherlands. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cold here, but we just have constant rain. So I want to do stuff inside. They shouldn't be too dangerous. This is, you know, if you're experimenting, again, they might be a bit unpredictable. You don't want kind of knives flying around your house. And they, of course, should have an interface for communication. So I'm holding it already. This is kind of my drone of choice. This is the RiseTech Tello. It's relatively cheap. It's about 100 euros. You can now go online and buy one. I think they even have them at the Apple Store. A small side note, get the Edu version. You'll see it. They'll have 2 versions. The Edu version has some more capabilities. What's happening? Hello? Oh, there we are again. Right? You see? I've got a screen here. I don't know if the cable is wrong. So I'll continue because we have limited time and maybe, hopefully, they can fix it. So this one, it can fly indoors. So this is, of course, very important. It has a UDP interface, which we'll talk about later. Still not here. If there's anything I can do, just shout out. And they don't have GPS, which is inside, like in here, probably we won't get any GPS signal. So that's why we have a downward-facing camera. So that's paramount with these kind of drones. They have a downward-facing camera, and that's what we're going to use today. Yeah, I'll continue. So this downward-facing camera, what does it do? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, guys, about this. So basically what this downward-facing camera does is it keeps the drone in place. Ah, there we are. So it keeps the drone in place. Why? Because it needs to know where it is. So basically, can we maybe get those lights up again? That would be really nice. So basically, it's looking down, and by looking down, it's figuring out whether it's moving or not. And if it does move, it's going to figure out by using the pattern on the ground how far it moved until now. So hence the bed covers. This is just to add contrast because these are very low quality or low price drones, so the sensors are low quality. So we need a lot of contrast in order to make it work. So how do we control a single drone? We're going to use UDP. That's a protocol, and basically it's a best effort protocol. It means we send a message, but we're not going to get any response. We're not going to get any feedback. With TCP, you send a message and you get something back. With UDP, you just send and you listen on another port for stuff that's being sent back from the drone. But that's not like you're not going to have an immediate feedback on what happened. So for now, we're just going to wait a certain amount of time and just see, just trying to figure out like probably by now it finished. Oh, this cable is really... Let me just exit. We still have I don't know what the problem is with this cable. Sorry about that. Yes, we're back. Okay, so that's good. So let's be very careful. So let's look at a little bit of code. So if you get one of these drones, let's take a look at this. So I'll zoom it in. It's like a crazy big screen, so I think you're pretty able to read it. So basically, the JavaScript code we're going to use today, we have a few imports in the beginning, some constants, some initialization of the library, and basically here we're sending commands. So we're sending a string command. So the command basically means get into SDK mode, start listening to my messages. But yeah, that's not going to do anything yet. So let's say, I think Microsoft was just mad at me. So we say take off and then wait for 5 seconds. So let's see what that does. So zoom in again a bit. Okay, so this is working. I'm really happy that it does. So basically, okay, so now I just took off, but then, yeah, now the drone doesn't really know what to do. So can we say land? Yes, so, okay, so now we're kind of controlling our first drone. We're sending these strings, send, take off and land. And that's working, so that's kind of nice. So now, what about receiving information? So I just started a script. I'll show you the script just now. That's this one. So basically, we're just subscribing to the message of the UDP client. So we're just subscribing to messages and we're logging them to our console. So basically, this is what we're getting, which is one big string. And so there's a lot of information in there, but basically it's like 2 lines repeating all the time. And it's got all the telemetry of this drone. So if I pick it up, so normally I try to point. So maybe this will work. So we've got pitch over here. So pitch is basically for an airplane or any airborne thing. This is basically your pitch. So you see the number changing, and to the right you see roll, that's this, and you see yaw. So basically at this point, turning it off for now, can we get those lights on again? That would be really beneficial. So basically this, I think just PowerPoint really crashed on me. There we are. No, we're not going to send anything to those bastards. Nobody from Mike, I think there was somebody from Microsoft here. I'll talk to him later. So basically that's controlling a single drone. Here we are. So what do we need for coordinated flight? Because that's basically the next step. We need to know where the drones are relative to each other. So in order for them to know where they are relative to each other, we're going to need to know where they are in a relative space. So that's why we have these pads. So basically these pads are on the ground here. You don't really see them that well because they're kind of swamped in the bed covers. But basically, they're being recognized by the downward-facing camera of the drone. Every mission pad is unique. So this is kind of, so there's a 1. You can kind of recognize 1. It doesn't recognize that. It recognizes the pattern of these dots and the colors. So basically, what the drone does is it calculates its relative position to the pad in this space. So if it knows its relative position, and we put down a grid, and that's basically what happened here, we can kind of start calculating where the drone is in this relative space. So say the relative space is this piece of cloth. So there are like 8 mission pads on here. Because you can't really see it because of the contrast, this is basically a representation of what's on the ground right now. So because everyone is unique and you have an ID, and you have a relative position, if we combine this information, so we say the relative position to one of the mission pads, I'm on top of number 7 in this case. I know its relative position, I know the position of the pad, basically that's going to tell me where I am at this point. So this up here, this is the line you saw just before, right? This is one of the lines of the continuous feed of telemetry coming back. So basically here we have our mission ID. That's basically the ID of one of the pads on the ground. And we have an X and a Y. So we have a relative position. We have some JavaScript. I'll put the slides online so you can take a look at this. But any programmer will be able to kind of calculate the relative position. And the syntax for sending a single message or a single like move command is the string in the line over there. Yes, those lights, I'm happy with those. So the Go 10 100, so this is, of course, metric system. We are not crazy. This means 10 centimeters on the x-axis and 100 centimeters on the y-axis. Okay, so let's dance. Or let's move, or let's try. So let's put some more drones on the stage. Let's see what happens. So give me a minute because I need to start them up and put them in a specific place. This one's there. Okay. So, and the show, where's my mouse? Yes, okay, so that's good. So, I'm starting backend. I call it the backend. And there's a small, in this case, React app. There's not enough time to go into this, but basically this is a small app for each drone. Each column is a drone to send commands, like all the stuff that you can do. So you can go left, right, up, down, and we'll show you in just a minute. So it gives you other telemetry, like the battery, like the temperature. But right now, let's just see if we can get them all to fly. So basically, I'm happy with all of them, except the blue one is not really, it's not so happy today, but 70%, 75% success rate is still not too bad, right? Yes, so they land, and yeah. So let's see if we can have a little bit more fun. Because this is already 3 of them reacting. So I'm sending the init command to all of them. Let's see if we can get... Oh, we got all of them. So that's good. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. So let's see if we can get them to move. So basically, okay, so now they're moving. So we're a bit low on light. Let's see if I can make them move a bit more. So they kind of went to one position. And so now we have 4 of them flying. And now let's say we want to rotate. So where's the rotate? Counterclockwise. So here you see the gray one. We're moving that one. And here we say that we have the white one. And they are tired. And now let's take a look at the white one. So you can say, like, send a message, go up 100, or go, where's the other one flying? And here you'll see that these are kind of the commands that we're sending. So these are the strings that we're basically sending to these drones, and this is what they are reacting to. So I'm just going to, because we have only a little bit of time. Where's my white one? Land. Yes. So I am going to turn them off because they overheat really quickly. And let me get back to them. So, because let's talk a little bit more about the coordinated flight. So, what is kind of the conclusion of playing with this? So first of all, it's crazy fun. Get one of these. It's also crazy difficult. Flying drones is hard. As you see, kind of like you're constantly adjusting. And that's because this is hardware. We're kind of used to software. Software only has limited kind of things that can go wrong. I'm probably not going to make friends by saying this, but kind of the variables are a little bit less. With hardware, you're going to have kind of external factors. So if somebody opens a door, you're going to have a draft, and all the drones are suddenly going to move. And this is something you may not have accounted for. So one of the advices I would give you is get rid of cats. So they really see a drone as something really appealing. I have a cat, and it constantly attacked my drones up to the point that I had to lock it up when I was flying drones. On the other hand, drones, they hate plants, so they will constantly fly into plants, and then at a certain point you only have pieces of plant on the floor. Be prepared to crash a lot. I mean, look at the expression of this guy. I love it. Just kind of his whole body is like, But this is very realistic, I will tell you. Like, again, hardware is very hard. You need to create your own command feedback system just for knowing when a drone was kind of finished with what he was doing. And we could really benefit from other protocols to really start streaming information back and forth. That's it. Thank you.